What do Falcons do? Rise up. Welcome to Rise Up Reactions, the show we talk all things Falcons, NFL, Georgia sports, and in general the sports news of the day. I'm your host, Dr. Lee Denning, the Golden Hard Doc, and a lifelong sports fan, joined today by my cat, Susie, who is happily sitting in my lap for the time being. So, it is finally upon us, guys. The eve before NFL is truly back. We are here. We are ready for it. We have 18 weeks of NFL action before the postseason. I'm going to be guiding you through every bit of it, and I'm going to continue to do kind of the same format as last year. Monday or Tuesday, I will talk about the Falcons' previous game. Then later on in the week, probably on Tuesday or Wednesday, I will make predictions for the coming week, and I'm going to be going on Pigskin Pick'em. My username or my entry name will be RiseUpRXNs. Feel free to try and find me on there and compare with your Pigskin Pick'em on ESPN compared to mine at the end of every week. I'll give my totals, I'll give where I was wrong, and I'll give my record. I'll give all of that every single week and kind of let you keep following it. And then I will also do a little bit of a preview most Fridays or Saturdays for the upcoming week or for the upcoming Falcons game, if there is one. But without further ado, guys, this is going to be week one predictions. All 32 teams are in action, and we start off with the Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs. Detroit being one of these teams that is actively trying to rewrite the narrative on their franchise. They have been in the doghouse for a long time, but they now have Dan Campbell, and they are firing on all cylinders coming into this season. I think the Lions are going to surprise a lot of people. Kansas City Chiefs, they again are basically shuffling up the wide receiver position, saying, whatever we got to do, we're going to pay money to 4 or 5 guys that are still less than Tyreek Hill's overall salary in Miami, and we're going to get similar production out of them, and Kelsey is going to be our number one no matter what. With that said, as of the making of this video, it is questionable if Kelsey will be on the field or not. He's dealing with an injury from earlier this week. I am going to go on the assumption that he is not there and that Jared Goff continues to have a historic run at his second team in Detroit. With that said, I'm going to be an underdog pick here. I'm going to go against the grain. 91% are picking Kansas City. I'm in the 9%. Let's go Detroit Lions. Moving on, right out the gate, the big, bad, dirty birds, the Atlanta Falcons, the home team, taking on a revamped Carolina Panthers. Now, I will be at this game. I have considered live streaming some in the future. Not this week and probably not next week either. But definitely something I'm considering in the future. We're starting off with a clean slate here. This is an NFC South that is wide open for, I think, 3 teams. I don't think Tampa Bay stands much of a chance. But Atlanta, Carolina, and the Saints all have what I would say a fairly decent shot of making it. The Carolina offensive line, while looking good at the end of last year, has looked like garbage in the action that they've had in preseason so far. The Falcons have a top 5 rushing offensive line, probably a middle tier passing offensive line. It's really going to depend. Is Ritter the guy? Is Bijan Robinson going to be as explosive and as dynamic as we think he is? Can Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Mac Hollins, can they get that chemistry with Ritter? Are the refs going to play ref ball and do stupid stuff? We're going to be missing Jeff Okudah, and I feel like there's someone else I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, Cordarrelle Patterson. He's going to be out as well. So we're going to be just a little bit thin at running back. We're just going to have Algier and Bijan Robinson. Again, a lot of people are thinking this is going to be the Bijan show. I think you should temper your expectations. I think Bijan Robinson gets about 60 to 65% of the carries. Algier, for a while, is going to get somewhere between 35 and 40% of the carries. And they're going to be a solid 1-2 punch. Algier alone was a crazy single punch towards the end of last season. So Atlanta is looking great. Carolina starting off here with a new quarterback with Bryce Young. I think there's a lot to be hopeful for in Carolina. I don't think it starts this year. I think they end up finishing third in the division when it's all said and done, but it's going to be a highly contested race. With that said, at home for the Falcons, rookie quarterback for the Panthers, kind of a new running back for the Panthers with I believe it's Miles Sanders, who I am high on this year. Give me Atlanta. I'm not going to pick against my Dirty Birds. It's only 53 to 47% Atlanta. I think it should be 65-35, but that's just me, and I am a Dirty Bird fan, and I'm not ashamed of it. Moving on, then we have another 1 o'clock matchup. The Cincinnati Bengals go to the Cleveland Browns. Joe Burrow is healthy. That's all I need to say here. Cincinnati Bengals are still a solid team. They lost a few pieces. Falcons picked up Jesse Bates, which was one of them. They did reload a little bit. They drafted well. Cleveland Browns, it's really going to depend on which Deshaun Watson shows up. Is it the Deshaun Watson that we saw at the end of last year, which was putrid, or is it going to be the guy who was in Houston making an MVP race every single year? If that's the case, it's going to be tough. It is Cincinnati's. I think the division is Cincinnati's to lose. And because of that, I am going to go with the Bengals. 87% of America is picking them as well. Cleveland, you guys have been in the doghouse, pardon the pun, for such a long time. I don't want you to fail as an organization. I do want Deshaun Watson to fail. That's just a personal bias on my end. But I do have the Bengals here. Next, we're going to move on because I'm starting to run back on time here. We're going to do the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Indianapolis Colts. Look, the Colts are a mess. I don't know any other way to say it. They are an absolute dumpster fire. Their offensive line has not shown significant improvement preseason. I hope they take a step forward for Anthony Richardson's sake. They have just been an absolute garbage clown show this past offseason. Handling Jonathan Taylor, who is now on the PUP list, probably a stupid move. There's probably not an actual injury there. We all pretty much assume that he is healthy and ready to go, but this is just the owner of the Colts being stupid. And just really mismanagement of an asset. What should be something there or someone there to help Anthony Richardson develop. And now he's not going to be there for 4 games. And you got Jacksonville, who is probably going to win the division right out the gate. With Jacksonville being loaded with Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, Trevor Lawrence finally coming into his own, looking like the savior that everybody thought he was going to be. And then Calvin Ridley being an acquisition in the offseason. Hate to see him there, but I hope he succeeds. He obviously wasn't happy in Atlanta. I think this is a team that easily could surpass 4,500 yards through the air this year, if not closer to 5,000. So this is a team that I really do like to win that division, and I think the Colts are going to be bottom 5 this year. Jacksonville Jaguars all the way. Moving on, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Minnesota Vikings, another 1 o'clock game here. Minnesota, again, a little bit disappointing last year. They really overperformed last year. That 13-win season, if you look at their metrics, they should have been like an 8-9 team. They just lucked out in several situations that should have probably gone the other way. Basically, they won all of their 50-50 games and won all of the 50-50 calls last year. I don't think they do that this year. They're missing Dalvin Cook. I think Alexander Madison probably can be good for them. But they do still have Justin Jefferson. They lose Adam Thielen. Again, I didn't talk about this, but he's at Carolina now. And then they gained a receiver, and his name is, for whatever reason, escaping me right now, even though I have him. Jordan Addison. Thank you, Jordan Addison. Who is a first-round pick and probably is going to step in and have an immediate role in this team. They have T.J. Hawkinson. They are loaded on offense. Their defense has been sketchy for the last couple of years. Hopefully they return to form like they were maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, where they were a top 10 defense. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, you have Big Tom Brady retiring. You have Mike Evans getting long in the tooth. Chris Godwin playing a little hurt from time to time. And losing Leonard Fournette and replacing him with Rachaad White. And I don't know what you expect to do here at Tampa Bay. Again, another team that I think finishes at the bottom 5. It's in Minnesota. Give me Minnesota. Easy enough. Moving on, we still have a few more 1 o'clock games to talk about. Tennessee Titans at New Orleans Saints. Tennessee is a team that I don't think is going to do well this year. I just have a gut feeling that everything falls apart for them. But again, their coach, Mike Vrabel, he is, for whatever reason, an enigmatic leader. He can find a way to squeeze honey out of rocks, and he finds ways to win, even though they did go on a historic losing streak last year. they're probably going to win 6 or 7 games this year at least. Ryan Tannehill is obviously not the answer for them. Malik Willis, they obviously don't want to move on and play him. They do have, I can't. Players' names are eluding me. Will Levis, I think, is their third stringer right now. They took him in the second round. He could end up seeing time later this season, but he will not be seeing time in the first game. They did get DeAndre Hopkins, which just blows my mind that he would want to go there because he's not winning a ring there. And then you have the New Orleans Saints, who made the biggest move in the division, getting Derek Carr at quarterback. I think Carr is immediately the best on paper quarterback in the NFC South. I think Ritter, if he plays well, could end up being that guy by the end of the year. But there's still a lot of unknown there. I have faith in Ritter, but again, it could end up being Carr being the best quarterback and Ritter be second or third, probably behind Bryce Young. Didn't even talk about Baker Mayfield being on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I just don't have faith in Tampa Bay. So we'll go back on. Saints, it is in New Orleans. 63% of America picks the Saints. That is a tough environment opening week. I'm going to give it to the Saints purely because of the environment that the Tennessee Titans are going to find themselves in. Derrick Henry very likely could have 140 rushing yards with a couple of touchdowns, but I do think New Orleans with Chris Olave, Derek Carr, Michael Thomas if he's healthy, and Jimmy Graham has returned as well. I think they find a way to win. Then we go on to the San Francisco 49ers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I'm going to go against the grain here. I'll just go ahead and tell you. But San Francisco, it seems like they're perennially good. I don't know how that's possible. They made such a bungle of the Trey Lance experience that they've now traded him for a 4th-round pick to Dallas. But you got the Steelers, who are perennially good. They have not had a sub-500 season since Mike Tomlin was brought on as head coach. And, again, I don't have them winning their division. If they get to the playoffs just because they're in a tough division and have a tough schedule, it's going to be to sneak in. The more I've seen of the Steelers, though, Kenny Pickett looks like he is not going to have a sophomore slump. Looks like he's going to take a massive step forward. Love George Pickens. Love Deontay Johnson. Love Najee Harris. Their offensive line, they have done a lot over the last 2 seasons to buff that up. It's in Pittsburgh, and again, opening week 1, anything can happen. Brock Purdy is still not probably 100% at this point. The 49ers, again, they are very, very good. Their defense is good. It almost seems like you could just throw in whatever quarterback you want to, and they're still going to find a way to win. They do have CMC. They've got Brandon Ayuk, and they've got Deebo Samuel. They have a lot of weapons, and they also have George Kittle. So this is a really tough matchup for me. 80% of America is picking the 49ers. I am going to go with the terrible towel. I don't love it, but I'm going to go terrible towel. I'm going to pick Steelers against the grain here. Then we're going to go to the Arizona Cardinals at the Washington Commies. Arizona's a dumpster fire. They are literally selling every asset they have to tank this season. It's not even close. It's not being masked at all. It is going to be a bloodbath in Arizona. This is at the Washington Commies field. Washington is looking to change their culture for the better. They now have the cancer removed that was their former owner, who shall not be named. Josh Harris, not the long snapper, but the multi-billionaire mogul, has taken over the team and is looking to probably change the name, change the culture. They're going to be getting a new stadium in the near future, probably moving up the road a little bit. They also believe in Sam Howell. They have a lot of weapons on offense. Give me the Commies all day long. Let's go to the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. So Houston, still probably not going to be a great team. C.J. Stroud is going to be starting. He was running for his life a lot in the preseason, playing against second-teamers with their first-string offense. I don't have a lot of faith in the Texans this year. They're probably still a bottom 10 team, but they do have hope for the future. Will Anderson should step in, maybe Defensive Rookie of the Year. Stroud, having watched a replay of the UGA Ohio State game recently, I think he's going to be fine, but he's going to need some protection. They're probably going to have to build that up over the course of the next season or two. They're going to the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore re-signed Lamar. Lamar seems happy now. They have Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, J.K. Dobbins. They just have a ton of weapons. And now they have Zay Flowers as well. And Odell Beckham Jr. They have a plethora of weapons. Their defense is always a top 12 unit, if not better, every single frickin' year. Baltimore Ravens all day long in this one, not even close. Then we're going to go to the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. Chicago, you are looking to finally get a win over your hated rival after years and years of falling short to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron is no longer there. It's the Jordan Love show. Jordan Love showing some impressive connection with some young receivers in Green Bay. Green Bay defense hopefully will take a step forward. They were projected to be a top 10 defense last year and fell way, way short of that mark. If they can take a step forward on defense and at least be a top 15 offense, they should be fine. Chicago Bears, they have done a lot with the cap they have. They've signed a ton of players. Justin Fields looks to finally have some weapons around him. DJ Moore, I think he and Justin Fields are going to have a great connection overall. 71% of America thinks that the Bears will take this because it is in Soldier Field. I don't know that I disagree. But because Tom Grassi is such an amazing human being, and because of his 30 and 30 campaign and the money that he raised for St. Jude, and just the fact that he's been one of the guys that inspired me so much to try and do sports YouTube, I'm going to go Green Bay Packers. I may not pick them the rest of the year. I'm going Green Bay Packers now. Then we move into another 4 o'clock game. Sorry, we did move into the 4 o'clock slate here. We have the Las Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos. America seems to think this is a 50-50 split. Josh Jacobs did end up signing his contract with the Raiders, so he will be playing for them. That helps tremendously. You also have Devontae Adams, and you have Jimmy Garoppolo, which is, to me, at best, a lateral move from Derek Carr, and at worst, a significant step down in terms of potential. He's going to be a game manager, so if your plan is to just run the absolute shit out of the ball with Josh Jacobs and occasionally hit Devontae Adams, then congratulations, you did what you were trying to do. But I just don't love that. Denver Broncos, you have Sean Payton coming in to be the savior of that team. Russell Wilson buffing up, looking a little bit more, or probably the biggest that he's ever been at quarterback, and it's not fat, it's muscle. Really kind of toning down, changing the way he is in this team. They have Jerry Jeudy. They have Cortland Sutton. They have Marvin Mims, not the same one that's been in the league a couple of years, but a rookie. They did lose a couple of wide receivers to season-ending injuries. They are getting Javonte Williams back, and their defense is always good. That's what I can say. Their defense played lights out last year in spite of their season was terrible, but their defense was a top 5 unit and probably will continue to be a top 5 unit. With that said, America thinks this is basically a 50-50 split. I don't think it's close. I think it's Denver. I am going to go Brandon Perna, Denver Broncos. It's 52-48. I think it should definitely be 70-30 at least. Then we're going to move on to another 4 o'clock game. We have the Philadelphia Eagles at the New England Patriots. Philadelphia coming off of a Super Bowl appearance, finding ways to re-sign a ton of the talent and basically bring the band back together. Jalen Hurts will be without his offensive coordinator this year, so that's going to be different. He's going to have a new guy there as his former offensive coordinator now has a head coaching job. New England Patriots, I don't know. New England always finds a way to shut down the impact players, but I just don't feel it right now. I'm starting to run along on this. So I'm just going to say Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll talk more about them next week. Still got 4 more games to go here, so we're going to rush through this last bit. Miami Dolphins at LA Chargers. This is a tough pick for me. I am going to go... Miami Dolphins are going to be a great team. If Tua can stay healthy, they may have the top offense in the entire league with Jalen Waddle, with all the talent. If Devin A-Chain comes out and is a great running back, they may be amazing. Tyreek Hill, it's hard to predict what they're going to do, but they are looking like one of the best teams in the league right now and have a chance to win their division. The LA Chargers, they're in a new culture. They have all the talent in the world. They've kind of changed around a little bit of their coordinator positions. We'll see what happens. I believe Kellen Moore is there now, so we'll see if he is the difference maker on offense. I don't know. This is a tough one. This is truly a 50-50 split. I'm going to go with the Dolphins, though. Even though it's going across country to L.A., I'm going to go Dolphins. Then we have the Rams at the Seahawks. Rams, I don't know what they're doing. Matthew Stafford doesn't seem to have a groove with anybody. Cooper Kupp is officially out for the week. I can't pick them with any good conscience, especially given how resurgent Geno Smith has been, how many weapons they have on offense and defense. They got possibly the best corner in the draft, and they also have Tariq Woolen from last year as a sleeper who ended up being third in the Rookie of the Year or Defensive Rookie of the Year polling. Give me the Seahawks here. It's in Seattle. That's going to be a tough game for the Rams to win, so I'll take the Seahawks all day long. Then we have Dallas Cowboys at New York Giants. Now, again, Dallas Cowboys, all the talent in the world. They don't have Zeke anymore, but it should be the Tony Pollard show. You've got Dak. You've got a ton of talent. You've got CeeDee Lamb. You've got Brandon Cooks. Michael Gallup, if he's healthy. You still have Jalen Tolbert, who was drafted last year and hopefully will show out sometime this year. And then you've got the Giants, who Brian Dable has really uplifted. And, again, very similar to Dan Campbell, that team believes in him and they want to rally around him. It's in New York, but I think Dallas is the better team. I think Dallas steals one of the games from the New York Giants. I think they may sweep the series in the long run, but I'm going to say the Dallas Cowboys win this one. And finally, again, you guys have stuck with me this long. Thank you so much. We have the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. New York Jets, one of the most interesting teams in the offseason, getting Dalvin Cook, having the defensive and offensive rookie of the year from last year, having a pretty solid offensive line, probably one of the best defensive lines in the league, and the biggest move, getting Aaron Rodgers for pennies on the dollar and having him restructure that contract so that it doesn't just absolutely destroy their salary cap situation. Major win all the way around for the Jets. They are playing the Buffalo Bills, who should be the number one contender in that division. Come on up, Susie. Should be the number one contender in the division. You have Josh Allen. You have Stephon Diggs. There's been some questionable drama there. I don't know. The Buffalo Bills are still, it's their division to lose. But in New York, I think this could be a trap game for the Bills. I think they're kind of looking ahead. And just because of all the hype around the Jets, I'm going to buy on the Jets this week. And I'm going to say Jets, Jets. That's just what I've got, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Follow along with me on the ESPN Pigskin Pick'em game. Let me know how you've done every week. I'll let you know how I've done every week. I'm still trying to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the 2023 season. We are at 160 right now. Please, please, please consider subscribing if you have not done so. It will help me reach more people. It will help me get more content out to you guys and out to the world. And in general, will help this channel grow. Thank you for the support that you've given me already. You guys are amazing. We're back in football season, guys. It is finally here. As always, rise up.